Is Firefall actually worth the 8 gigabytes of space? Or is it just another MMO that you'll be throwing in about 3 weeks? Let's find out. What is going on, guys? Statelyfall here today, bringing you guys a video, or I guess you could call this a review of a game that I have been playing quite a bit this summer. This summer I went on a journey to try and find a couple of games that would actually interest me in a couple of different games, and I did end up resorting back to one game, a Minecraft mod pack that I might be talking about later on the channel. But a brand new title that was officially launched, I believe last week, and that has been beta, or that has been known around the community for a while, has been Firefall. It was officially launched last week, and once I downloaded it onto Steam, I was lost and completely bound to it. So, like I said, this is somewhat a review, and since it is a free-to-play MMO shooter, I thought I would get the logistics out of the way first. So basically what everybody wants to know when it comes to a free-to-play game is what are we paying for exactly. And if I press Alt right here and open their the game's in-game currency, aka red beans, you will quickly notice that this game is almost a lot like League of Legends, where as in you don't buy weapons straight off the bat. Mostly, I see most people actually buying in-game currency for faster transportation, actually, and not for weapons and stuff like that. If you want to get a good weapon, instead of wasting your own money on it, you probably have a better chance of just grinding it on out. It's a lot more fun that way, anyway. So that's basically it. As you can see, or wrong thing. As you can see, transportation, some type of I don't even know what that is. Pets, visuals, a lot of visuals, body visuals especially. A couple of boosts. You know, the general stuff in advanced frames, which are pretty cool. I do like these advanced frames. They're not extra weapons. They're just, if I go into third person mode, you see how my frame is white. You just get those frames instead. The frames are pretty cool though, I'm not gonna lie. I would definitely buy one if I had the extra money, and vending tokens, which I can show you a vending machine when we get up there. But yeah, that's it. That's what you have to know about what are we paying for and how the game actually makes its money. You're not paying for weapons. This definitely is not a free-to-play, or pay-to-play, or pay-to-win, there we go, pay-to-win game. It most definitely is a game where they do ask, or you do have to put hours in game to get the maximum out of the game, which I think is definitely amazing. So another cool thing about this, or another part to the pay to whatever in the game, is that as you can see there are these 5 classes that are light gray. If you want the darker gray classes, you do have to pay for those. Well, it is something that is kind of saddening. Once again, you have to make your main type of money somewhere, and this is definitely one where you are definitely going to make some kind of money, because only having 5 out of the, let's see, 4, 7, 10, 13, 16 classes, or 5 out of the 16 classes available to you is definitely restricting. And even though, if you did notice on the side, every class has its own level, it still is a bit restricting. As you can see, it is 100 red beans, which if I go to see how much red beans are, because I've never actually done that before. Do you have to get the VIP, maybe, is it? I thought you could just straight up buy red beans. I have no clue. Maybe you have to get the VIP. As you can see on the side, when it said VIP, it was like, for 7 days, get 40 red beans. It might be 40 red beans a day? Who knows? I'm not buying it, or I might buy it, who knows? But that's basically what you're paying for. You're paying, if you do want to pay for the game, you are going to end up paying for cosmetics, which I'm totally okay with paying for cosmetics. I think that is the safest and best route for most games, is to pay for cosmetics. League of Legends has it, even though you do have to pay for champions. Dota has it, which is extremely successful. And then another thing is you have to pay for classes, which is, you know, it's you can deal with it, is what I'm trying to say. So other than that, what is in the game that makes this game stand out, and why am I onto it so much? Well, one thing right here is the jetpack. It does allow you to get around quicker than just walking and whatever. Walking gets so boring. It's nice to be able to jetpack around enemies and stuff like that. Bomb him. And so that's another cool thing. Another thing is if I can find one on the map. I can't find one right now, but even though you might not necessarily have friends on the game right now, there are always these random global group missions where you might start off by yourself and just start this random mission. For instance, in the game, there's something called thumpers, where the thumper mines in the ground for minerals, and you have to protect the thumper for a certain amount of time. And while the thumper is there, enemies come and swarm you. And well, it can definitely be a solo type of mission. Within about 5 minutes, I actually think I see one happening. That's not a thumper mission, but it is definitely something going on where a player is dealing with a lot of enemies at once. But if you are doing something like that, a solo mission can turn into a 5-man mission within a couple of minutes, just because of the way the map itself works. And it works like when big global things are happening, a lot of people get notified at once. Jesus Christ, these are a lot of quote-unquote punks. I call them bandits, even though the game calls them punks. These are a lot of them. I have to pop a heal. Ooh. So as you can see, I'm using like the jump pack to kind of jump around, and so they can't easily aim at me, even though bots are incredibly overpowered, or the AI is incredibly overpowered. It can still generally get you with relative ease, even when you are jumping around like a maniac. It's still pretty cool to be jumping around like this, and you don't get advantages when it comes to AI with weapons. You do get a lot of advantages when it comes to the lower level, level 1 AI, because they actually don't necessarily, they jump, but they don't have guns. So for instance, this AI, what is it called again? It is called a skiver. As you can see, when there's like 30 of these around you, you can just pull out the grenade launcher and blow them all up at once. So that's one advantage I like. But enough rambling about the game. Let's actually get into a mission that I recorded a little bit earlier on, and let's talk about it there. I'll see you guys there. Oh, and one thing I did forget to mention is a lot of people are usually interested in how the game does XP and stuff like that. So the way this game does XP is actually pretty cool and not as boring as most MMOs. Like you always hear about the WoW players, how when they're getting ready for a mission, they spend like 5 hours a day for like 5 days going out on like one-hitting these lower level enemies, and then barely getting any XP, so they have to spend 5 hours a day for 5 days just grinding these lower level enemies. But not necessarily in this game. Well, I can't actually show you it right now. Actually, I could run back to the HQ really quick and show you. So once I get to the HQ, I will definitely go into more detail. Okay, so I am back at what I call the headquarters, and what the game actually calls an uplink. And once the game stops spazzing out on me, there we go. At if I open up the map, each uplink, as you can see, the uplinks are these blue icons. So this is the Northern Shores uplink, that is the Copacabana uplink, and that is the Neutronic Processing uplink. Each uplink is level specific, so from level 1 through 5 on your specific class, you'll be getting these missions from the work, or from the job board. And what the job board essentially does is it gives out slightly repetitive, but not really repetitive, missions with a slight story-based gameplay. Not necessarily the most intense story, but it's like, if you felt like following along, which I personally didn't feel like following along to the story, you could, or you could just seamlessly blow up things and go on about your business. But from level 1 through 5, you just go to the job board in Copacabana, and you get these jobs, you do them, and then you get reasonable rewards and EXP for each mission you do. So, and then once you get level 1 or 6 through 9, you go to Northern Shores, you get the jobs from here, and you get reasonable EXP rewards and rewards from your level. So for instance, you start off only needing about 10,000 XP to level up, and as you can see at the bottom center of the screen, I'm trying to get so that it looks clearer, as you can see, at level 10 to get to level 11 I need 101,000. Jeez, I can't count, it's summer. I need 101,000 EXP. So obviously doing those level 1 missions is not going to help me at all, because I'm probably only going to be getting like barely 1,000, if 1,000 XP per mission. So you definitely want to find job specific or level specific missions, because those are the ones that are not necessarily the easiest. They can be really easy, but they definitely are balanced, is what I'm trying to say. So for instance, there are missions throughout, these random missions throughout the map. So as you can see, if once I hover over this purple thing, purple things are missions, purple icons are missions, and blue icons are watchtowers and uplink towers. So as you can see, hover over this, recommend level 2. So if I go there, I'll get XP, I'll get rewards, but they're definitely not going to be suited towards me. If I go to this one, an Ares mission, recommend level 16. If I go there at a level 10, I'm probably going to be under level, and it'll be really hard for me to get there. Let's see, level 20, definitely not going to be for me. And level 14, I'm getting a little closer to that. I could definitely do that, but it still might not be for me. I'd probably be looking for level 8 through 12 missions if you're level 10. Like probably 2 up and 2 down is where you want to be in terms of EXP. But EXP is definitely not hard to come by in rewards. The game is pretty generous when it comes to rewards. I think so specifically. But enough about that. Now let's get into combat talk about the game.
5 seconds until touchdown. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alright, so now we're in the first or second mission, official mission of the game. I'm doing this as a post recording because I thought I'd record the first mission, but I didn't feel like live copying it because I wanted to kind of listen to what the game was saying. But that was honestly the first downfall of the game. The game doesn't really have the best story that I would actually feel like listening to, and honestly I feel like that's most MMOs. Once again, like I always have stated, most MMOs are just a grind fest to level 70. You get into a guild, or in this case an army, and then you do raids with your friends or your army, and you do whatever you feel like after that. So if you're in it for the story, you might be a little bit disappointed because it's really nothing special. There's no cutscenes or anything like that, or there's no big cutscenes. Before each big mission, there is a cutscene. It's really nothing. But let's talk about what we're here to talk about, and why everybody should be kind of interested, or why everybody should be even thinking about this game. Is the interest in the combat is something that I was interested in WildStar, but it costs money, so I was like, forget about it. But then I see this game that kind of looks like cartoony enough to look like Borderlands, and has the ability to switch from third person to first person, and I'm like, this kind of interests me. So I dive deeper into the game, and honestly, it's exactly what you get. It's a shooter that can be third person and first person, and that's just about that. In terms of major combat, like I stated in the segment before, each class has its perks and its downfalls. So class dependency is a thing, and that's why I think if you're going to get into an army and stuff like that, it depends on what class you are and whatnot. But in terms of solo play, you can do fine at any class and pretty much any weapon that you want. As you can see, this main mission was giving me a lot of trouble, and the thing about main missions is that they are level specific, so technically I should be powered up enough to handle this perfectly, and this is why I did kind of like the mission. It did give me a little bit of a challenge. It did make me hide for cover at points. It did make me think about jumping. You can't just go full Rambo in some of these fights. In the side missions, go full Rambo and you'll be just fine. In the main missions though, like these missions, you cannot go full Rambo or else you probably will just die, which is obviously not a good thing. So the combat is pretty balanced and pretty good for a free-to-play game. One thing though, I was browsing the forums, and while I was there, I was on Reddit. This game has been out for a little bit of time, and I did hear a couple of the older people talk about, or a couple of the people that have been on the game for like a year or two now, and I did hear a couple of people say that the combat is a little bit worse than it, or not necessarily the combat, but the customizability of your abilities is a lot worse than what it could be. And as far as I know, there isn't that much. The person was right, and there isn't that much customizability in terms of like a combat tree or something like that. I would be interested in somewhat of like a combat tree or something like that, where you can focus or hone in on certain abilities, and that would definitely set it aside as a pretty good game. And then for your armies and stuff like that, that would be an even better, an even bigger perk for joining armies and stuff like that if you had honed in on certain abilities and or not necessarily, I don't want to call them abilities because it's a shooter, on certain skills. Maybe you can reload at 10%, and maybe in your I know in I forget which class it is, there's like a healing wave. Maybe your healing wave radius is bigger than what it would be without the upgrades. I don't know. That was just something I was thinking about that would probably make it a little bit better. But the gameplay is very, very, very balanced. Like I said before, also there is no buying weapons. So after killing somebody, you have the potential, or after killing something, there's a potential that it will drop a weapon, and odds are the weapon is better. It could be your primary weapon, which is class dependent, or it could be a secondary weapon, which is not class dependent. So secondary weapons, I think, are more powerful in most cases than your primary weapon, because it depends on what kind of situation you're going to be in. For instance, I don't know what my secondary weapon is in this segment, but it definitely would not have been that beneficial to have a grenade launcher because of how the enemy is being formed up. As you can see, they're pretty spread out. They have weapons of their own, so they're not all grouped up. But okay, see, I do have the P90-esque one, which is very, very useful. But when I do the solo missions, you mainly end up killing like these bug type things, and they tend to group up a lot, and they tend to be like 1 or 2 hit kills with the grenade launcher. So in that case, it would be smarter to go with a grenade launcher or something like that, or a shotgun, for instance. So there is a little bit of a difference in the type of weapons that are in the game, which I think is another cool thing about the game. As you can see, I just finished the mission. The whole entire backstory was that these people got like trapped on a planet or something like that, and now they're not trapped. They got trapped, and I had to come in and save them, and I had to go collect items and bring them back to the ship so that they could fix the ship and then leave. Like I said, story mode is nothing to talk about, but the combat in this game is pretty good, and I think that is what like sets this game over as something to come back to. Like I said, there are better weapons in the game that you can't just buy, so you have to actually play through the game. As you can see, once I got mission complete, I did get rewarded a weapon, but there is a sort of progression in the game that you can't just pay for, which is very, very good for a free-to-play game. As you can see, this was back when I was level 7, I think it looks like, so I'm actually at Copacabana. But I will talk to you guys again on back in game, actually, to wrap this whole entire thing up. Alright, so welcome back, and after talking about combat, it's time to actually wrap up this video. But I wanted to talk about one last thing before I edit this video, and I think it is honestly something that more people should probably talk about in their videos, and that is, especially for free-to-play titles, and that is performance. Like I said, this game did just get officially launched last week, but the performance is definitely something that might make you second guess the game. I run a mid-end system with what is it? It was like $120 dedicated graphics card in my system, and at times this game can be a little bit of a hassle to run. Obviously, if you're running like a $2 kajillion billion trillion PC, you'll be just fine. But if you're, like most people, don't have the best PC in the world, this game might actually give you a little bit of trouble. And honestly, it depends on your hardware, as always. But in this case, I believe the game is a lot more CPU based than GPU based, as is with most MMOs. Because just because there's just so much to render. As you can see, if I open up my options and then advanced video, everything is set to low and very low. I hate when people are randomly shooting at me. Like, as you low, off, low, low, very, 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 very low. But my view distance is set to high. I just always thought that it was a strategical disadvantage to have an option set to have an option for view distance and then have it all the way set down. But this is what I was actually talking about when it comes to these group things. But this isn't even a group thing. This is like, these people are getting raided. Like, what is happening? What is happening? Holy crap. I'm about to die. Whoa. This is very spot at the moment. I've never ever seen this happen before. This is like a full-blown enemy raid. How does this even happen? How does this even happen? He must be a way higher level than me. I actually want to go back and check out what's happening from a way longer distance. But that's one of the things I was talking about in the first segment of the video, is solo events can easily become group events in this game, like without anything happening. So let's go back over there. What is happening? As you can see, somebody else is checking it out with me. It's like 85,000 people down there, all level 9s, stuff like that. I'm just gonna snipe them up from up here. But there's about 3 or 4 people fighting this off. And I didn't start this. Somebody else started it. Oh, they're finding me. They're starting to find me. They are starting to find me. Let's see. The good thing about Recon is you can literally chill up here. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention in the game is another thing is that each class has their own abilities and stuff like that. So Recon, when I press 1, I set a decoy. It's right there. It's my decoy. But when I shoot, the decoy disappears because that'd just be OP. Jesus Christ, there's just so many of them. This advantages of having your view distance set all the way up. You can just see everything. Oh, stupid ability shield and stuff. Alright, we gotta help. We gotta see group event or solo events just turning into group events. They are, Jesus, I have never seen this many enemies. I've never seen this many high level enemies this aggressive. I'm just staying back though. I am no tank. Oh crap! See, he made the same mistake that we all did, which was just to jump straight in. When you're Recon, you can just take a strategical position and just chill up. I think they're actually trying to save. They might be able to save him if I can keep my sight. Oh, they didn't be able to save him. If I was able to keep my sights on him, but I think I can actually get down a little bit closer now. We fought them off. We're fighting them off still. Pretty hardcore. Nope, he's dead. Okay. Oh crap, I'm out of ammo. Or I got an ammo pack. Alright, and he's down. This better be a lot of XP. These enemy turrets? No, these are our turrets. Alright, and they're all chilling in the back lines. They have their own drones. Man, these people are OP. These are your no average enemies right here. These people know what they're doing. Keep on shooting, keep on shooting, keep on shooting. Try to jump. I always try to jump when I'm reloading just because it's bad to just stand still, especially when the enemy has weapons and they're doing overhead. Oh yeah, I have bombs and stuff. There we go. Airstrike coming down. And Juggernaut down. We fought them off. Or are fighting them off. Where do they all come from though? This is like extra stuff right here. Oof, somebody's down. How much? Alright, we're still good on health. Keep the distance, keep the distance, keep the distance. Jeez, why can't you people get down, like, closer? So people can actually revive you? Oof, nope, that's too close. Alright, let's get on it. Let's get behind here. People are accurate, too. And here comes another one. Here comes another one. Another one. Whew. Putting in work. These drones. Small little drones, easy. Juggernauts, crazy. I should be able to solo though. Solo a jug. Take out the drone. Still fighting off. Oh, there's a couple. Shouldn't die though. Those drones are pretty good though. Oof. Those drones. Alright. As you can see, there's quite a few people around this area fighting this off. So like I said, a solo event turns into a group event quite easily. I think we fought most of them, don't want to say back, but that was one of the way easier enemies. Don't want to say back, but from the siege that was happening is officially done. Oh, it's because somebody set down a thumper. Oh wait, no, it's not because somebody set down a thumper. That was just random. But yeah, is Titanfall worth your 8 gigabytes of space? Definitely. If you can, especially if you can find a group of friends to play with you, this game would be probably really enjoyable. It's like a Call of Duty that's online, and that will be getting updated constantly. And there is a pay-to-play aspect if that's something that you guys are interested in, to make the player look better, to get higher XP per hour probably and stuff like that. I know that stuff is always pretty cool, or I know that stuff is always valuable information to some people. So Titanfall is definitely worth your 8 gigabytes of space. Just make sure that you can run it. Honestly, it's always one of my, it always worries me when you download a game and then you don't know if you can run it. You get so hyped up for this game, get it, and then you just can't run it. So just make sure that you can run it. It's free to play, so it's almost like a trial before you run it. But check recommended stats, and you guys should be good. So don't want to lie to you guys and say that there's going to be another video, but I will say this much: I have been streaming a lot more over on hitbox.tv/Statelyfall. Links in the description as always. So you can definitely check me out there, and I will see you guys when I see you guys. Alright, see ya.